Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Every Book All at Once, week 15. So in Every Book All at Once, I basically try to read all of my remaining TBR books. There are a few more that are just like lying around my apartment at this point in time. I am starting off with 10 books at the beginning of this week. I did not manage any of my goals last week, but I also decided not to give myself a punishment because it was like the first week back after my holidays. So the goal for this week is definitely to do better, and my main personal goal is to make sure that I reach the weekly amount of pages that I need to be reading. So I think on average a daily goal of 130 pages, but I definitely know that I won't be reaching it every single day. For example, on Thursday my day is very full and I probably won't reach it, and very likely that I won't reach it in a single one of the weekdays, but I hopefully am gonna get close enough to, you know, like catch up to that during the weekend. But so goal-wise, I would like to finish a few books at least this week as well, because 10 is a decent amount, but you know, like if I want to be finishing all of them by the end of the month, I definitely need to start feeling like I'm chipping away at the books and not just at like the page count. So let's just get into the goals. There is only one book that I haven't started yet, which is Vilest Things by Chloe Gong. And so one of my other goals personally, but it depends on what the goal is going to be that we get in the wheel spin. But personally, I would definitely like to finish Immortal Longing so that I can finally finish the final one of these books, so that every one of the books can have been started. So we are recording. Let me go to the Spin the Wheel app, and I do need to make a change here because I have to remove something from this. So finish the most progressed one, and this 50 pages and 6 random is from the week before, I think. So that is okay, and let's now spin. Alright, 100% progress across 2 books. That is probably going to be interesting. It probably means finishing out Herald and The Ending Fire could give me this goal. Because in Herald I am the furthest along, and in The Ending Fire I'm the least far along. Might not be enough actually, I'll have to do the calculus on that, but basically you have to try and complete 100% across 2 books. If I have to, I guess, like I need to make sure that I'm not, okay, my brain is thinking too hard about this. So if I am 29% into The Ending Fire, for example, then that would even out to 100. But if I am less far into The Ending Fire than that, which I think I am, it would mean that I need to keep a few percentages left, right? Or are we not going to be that difficult about these things? In any case, let's move on to the activity goal. I'm going to remove the paint by numbers, even though I kind of want to keep it in there and just like you know, like just continue in case it's I end up getting it. But I also damn it, screen recording has stopped because my storage is low. Alright, spin. No. Go for a run. Rip my life. So I have known for weeks, months that I didn't want this to ever land on this goal. And whereas at the beginning of this project I was like, yeah, I'll do some I'm doing physical activity and the goal is to eventually get back to running. Now I'm like, I am not there at all. So going for a run this week, I mean, it doesn't have to be far, you know, like technically speaking, I can just do the very bare minimum and it will count, right? Right. The benchmark, I think I'll have to look into my previous video to actually figure out what the benchmark is, because I don't even know how much the benchmark needs to be. I think there are only like 2 books or so under 30% at this point in time. And then of course we have the book that I haven't started yet, but that one I am not starting yet at this point in time. So yeah, I think, what was the goal again? 100% across 2 books. So I think that actually means that I could probably kind of do what I wanted to do. So it means finishing Herald, finishing or close to finishing the Ending Fire. And then I would like to focus the rest of my time on Demon. So the other book in the Rob J. Hayes series, and Between Dragons and Their Wrath, which was my October book for my read-along. There Be Dragons. So, or was it a November book? Now I'm confused. But in any case, it's a book that I still need to finish. No, it was the October book. I haven't read the November book yet. So yeah, I think those 4 books give me more than enough pages for the weekly goal, and it actually gives me a surplus of I think about 150 pages if I were to finish those 4. So that would be a nice goal, and that would mean like a reduction of 4 books. Or actually I don't think that those 4 are enough. Probably still need to add Immortal Longings into that. I think that was also into my calculus. But so those 5 can be kind of like my focus throughout the week. But so yeah, what have I read so far today? Nothing for this project, of course. I've read The Lonely Hearts Lido Club, which is basically my commute book at this point in time, which I'm enjoying, but it's just like a random sort of like book about, you know, like 3 strangers who are a little bit down on their dumps. One has just lost her husband, another is basically coming to terms with the fact that her relationship isn't what she thought it was. She has stuck by her husband for many, many years, but now that he's retired, it seems like nothing has really changed and he still is really like taking her for granted. And then the other guy is a guy who has just lost his job and basically feels like he's lost his value as a consequence of that. I enjoy this and I will continue to listen to this on my commutes, just because I think that like my focus during you know, like during the what am I thinking about? My focus during the my focus during like the commute isn't on like fantasy and stuff like that, so I need to be consuming lighter stuff. But so yeah, let me get to cooking with the Ending Fire and updating you guys over on Discord. So, it is Wednesday morning. No, it's not, it's Thursday morning. I wish it was Wednesday morning. I wish we could do Wednesday over. Basically, Monday, good job, 100 pages read. Tuesday, great job, 132, so 2 extra pages. So I was like good in terms of like keeping the damage to the minimum. But yesterday I was just really not in a reading mood. I blame myself, or I blame a certain reaction channel, because I follow a few reaction channels for specific series, and then one of them started to react to The Lord of the Rings, and you know, I love The Lord of the Rings, so I started watching that, but those reactions take a very long time, whereas typically a reaction video is just like 20 minutes or so when it's for an episode. So yeah, I was just itching to know their reaction to the second movie because I'd seen the first one throughout the weekend. And so yeah, I spent a lot of my time on that in principle throughout the evening that I should have spent on reading. And then I made the second biggest mistake, which is a mistake that I make occasionally, even though I know it's a mistake, and that is saying like, I'll finish it out in the bedroom and just like take my book with me to bed and read over there. And I know that that is a trap, because I read 8 pages and then I fell asleep. And the biggest mistake there is turning to my side, which I did after like 2 minutes or so. So yeah, yesterday I read a total of like, what was it in the end? 69, I think, pages, so 71 pages too little, meaning that in total we are now 99 pages behind. And this is Thursday, meaning that today is the day in which I have the busiest schedule. I go to work, straight after work I go to physical therapy, and straight after physical therapy I go to Spanish class, which ends at 9:30. So I won't be home until like a little before 10. And that is typically when I'm rounding off the evening, like trying to make sure that I get to bed, though typically speaking I am only really like turning off the lights and going to sleep somewhere between 11 and midnight. So the hope is that I can still get some reading done in that hour. After I'm back from Spanish class, I will focus on Immortal Longings, because I feel like that is the one that goes the fastest. So I can still get some pages in today to make sure that the damage stays within some sort of a bounds. I would love to make sure that I don't get more than 100 pages like backlog extra today, so to read like 30 pages today. And I might actually like just listen to the ending fire on my commutes, because that at least will also earn me some pages. And I hope that I'm far enough into the ending fire and familiar enough with this world, because this is the third book in the series, that that is possible. So I'll give it a go on the way to my work, and then we'll see. Because that way we could potentially already get, maybe not those full 30 pages, because I'm listening to that at a lower speed, but hopefully, maybe, because I do have like bicycle ride to work, bicycle rides to the physical therapy, bicycle rides to Spanish class, bicycle ride home to deal with. So potentially I can get at least like a chunk of pages done during that, which will like make it a little bit more easier for me in the evening to still read a bit and make sure that I don't get more than that I don't have more than 100 pages left today. Because if we're going into the weekend with a backlog of 200 pages, I think that's still doable, but it is already like giving me it isn't a comfortable cushion, because that would mean like reading 230 pages per day of the weekends, which is definitely doable, but it is also still like something that I would need discipline for. And there are other things that I also need to do throughout this weekend. The weekend is relatively empty. On Sunday evening I am going to see some friends of mine, so I do have one activity there, but I do also need to do some editing, some filming, write my Christmas cards and stuff like that. So yeah. Nothing left to do but to start the work day, and yeah, I'll check in with you guys next time that I'm wearing a Christmas sweater, apparently, because that seems to be the conclusion, that I'm just like filming whenever I have a Christmas sweater on. Hello guys, it is me, and I'm not wearing a Christmas jumper, but I have the Christmas tree here to compensate for that, okay? So it is Saturday evening, and I've just had a real productive day in terms of reading, because it is like 11 o'clock at night. I am at 297 pages for today, so for both of these days I would need to read like 225 pages in order to meet the goal. So that means that I like have a cushion when it comes to tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll have to read like just like 150 pages or something like that in order to reach the weekly goal. Now, I do still want to read a little bit tonight, but we'll see because I'll probably take it into the bedroom. So it's very likely that after a few minutes, I'm just going to fall asleep. But I did just finish one book. So I finished The Ending Fire. So this is the third and final book in the Final Strife series. I think it's actually called the Ending Fire trilogy. And yes, I really, really enjoyed this. So this is a series in which we are basically looking at a society heavily separated by the color of people's blood. So you have reds on top, blues, kind of like the middle class, I'd say. They are allowed some rights and they do have jobs and get paid for them, but it isn't like they are ever able to reach into positions of power. And then we have the ghostings or the transparent bloods who really have it worst off because they are the ones who basically get mutilated when they are young and then basically are put into servitude for their entire lives and just basically have to, like serve the red bloods and, like just deal with that because they don't have any rights or opportunities within this world. And within this world, like a decade ago or so, there was one sort of like scheme that was developed where a bunch of red bloods children from the keep were stolen in order for them to be raised in the mentality and surrounded by blue bloods, with the idea that one day they would then be able to vie for positions of power. However, this scheme was really quickly discovered and was quashed, but there is still one of these girls left. However, she isn't really like spending her time trying to see how can she enact the plan that was laid out for her. She's basically just like drowning in the sorrows of the trauma of what has happened to her in her childhood. And yeah, story follows on from there, and what I can definitely say is that the world very much expands beyond what we see within the first book. So I really love that about the series, is that you start off the series with like a certain groundworks being laid, and those groundworks are then expanded upon and like really like overthrown when you get further along in the series. And so what initially seems to be the scope of the series becomes much bigger when you get to later installments within the series. So this final book definitely had its annoying moments, but it's annoying in the sense that it's intentional. But there's this one character and her story arc that just made me go like, oh my god, stop being such a naive person, or like start thinking for yourself. Even though I understood part of the reasons why they were doing what they were doing, or why they weren't perhaps in their clearest of minds, it was still somewhat annoying to read. It was just like aggravating, when you see a train wreck happening and you're just like, come on, snap out of it. That's kind of that kind of feeling. Like followed me throughout much of this book, which was very annoying because it was also a feeling that I had with the same character for quite a big portion of the latter half of the second book. So that made it extra annoying because I was just like, no, wait, we still haven't figured this out, or we're still not snapping out of this. So yeah, but it's like, it's a good sign. It's a sign that I was really invested, clearly. So I finished that. I'm hoping that tomorrow I will be finishing Immortal Longings. I have like 44 pages to go in that, or something like that. And then I do also still want to finish Between Dragons and Their Wrath tomorrow. I have some 70 pages to go in that, but that is a book that I'm going to take into my bedroom now, hoping that I can still read like a chapter in that. Chapters in that are about 20 pages long. And so if I do that, I'm actually more or less caught up to the backlog that I had accumulated throughout the week, because going into the weekend I had a backlog of 190 pages. So really, really, really happy that like 170 more or less of those I've just magicked away today by reading a ton. So it is a Monday. I have completed the mission. So I did kind of change out a specific goal. So the activity goal with permission of like 2 people, I changed out the activity goal for a physical activity. So yesterday I spent some time doing a step aerobics workout because, you know, like I just don't think running is a good idea for me at this point in time. I've been, you know, like not running for a very long time. I thought I'd strengthen my body by step over time, but then like for the past month and a half I haven't really done that anymore. So I think going back to step aerobic is like the mild way back into exercise that I'm going to be using for this. And cats, please. She's asking me to feed her, and apparently she's not gonna stop talking until I do so, maybe? Yes, she's gonna complain. But so, yeah, so I could change that, but I did do it. I will insert the proof here, though I did do more than just that. I did like a half hour, but unfortunately I was also stupid enough to pause my tracking immediately after turning it on. So the first half of it I wasn't actually tracking, and I realized when I was just like checking my heart rate. But I did manage to get the 900 pages read for the weekly goal. I think I had to read 904, I ended up reading 910. So the intention of getting more pages in than was needed was not successful, but you know, like small gains here. We're very happy to have made the page goal. We're also very happy to have made the goal of reading 100% across 2 books. I will admit that I didn't make it to exactly 100%, I did way more than that, but I also think that it's in line with the spirit of this assignment in any case. But so I did finish 2 more books yesterday evening. So I finished Immortal Longings first of all. So my reread for Immortal Longings, this is an Antony and Cleopatra retelling set in a like I would say a 90s sort of version of Shanghai, and in this one we are following 2 competitors who are taking part in this like citywide game that is basically a sort of like battle royale, so a brutal game in which you try to be the last person standing, but within this world you can body hop, which is an attribute or a talent that's definitely going to come in handy when taking part in these games. One of our contestants is a ex-princess who has basically been exiled, or like she's basically been on the run since she killed off her entire family, and the other one is a guy who's basically trying to win the competition in order to have money to help deal with the medical bills of his girlfriend, who is basically in hospital for a very long time already. And so both of these are trying to win the games, and the princess's aim is basically to win the game in order to be able to assassinate the king at the final moment. But sparks erupt between the 2 of them, but however there can only be one victor. And then the other thing that I finished still, so I already talked about finishing the ending fire, so this can also go off here. And then I also finished Between Dragons and Their Wrath, which is also the first book in the trilogy. I really enjoyed this one a whole lot, and like I would definitely say that this is one that you should probably read like without too many distractions, because it does have like chapters that are a little bit on the longer side of things, and they are from 3 different perspectives, and so if you're reading it with too many things going on or taking too much time in between, then I felt that I was losing a little bit of my immersion with it. But once I was reading like 4 chapters a day or something like that, once I was going through like 70 pages a day in this book, I was definitely hooked and much more intrigued about it. I will say that at the end I still have that sort of like feeling of like, ooh, things are about to start, as if we haven't just gone through like 400 pages of a start of a story. But that's a good thing. I definitely feel like I'm like fully immersed, and that I was just like caught by surprise by the ending, because I don't feel like the ending is any sort of like explosive ending as we tend to have, though like the final few pages definitely are, but it wasn't like it was building up to some sort of explosive activity, and so I could see the ending coming. It was more like, I think the final 20 pages or so, me thinking like, wait, how are we gonna end this one? And so I'm very eager to see what is going to come next. But in this world, we basically have a world with some alliances that are somewhat fraught and forcibly maintained. And so we have this sort of like, he's called a Reacher, who's basically, I guess, sort of like the commander or the king of the of an what is seems in my understanding to be somewhat of an empire, and he's basically kind of forced a peace between different parts of this world. And one of our protagonists is a girl called Tesha, who basically wants to enter into a fake marriage with his brother in order to be able to either kill the Reacher or in any case heavily sabotage him. Another character that we're following is then a laundress working in an alchemy store in a different part of this world. And the third character that we're following is somebody who is basically a dragon rider. And the interconnections between all of these and between these different parts of the world and the story are difficult to grasp at first, and they are definitely slowly established over time. So it's definitely more towards the second half of the book that you're really starting to see how events in one section of the story lead to consequences in other sections of the story, and I really enjoy that about this world building, this plot elaboration. So I'm very much looking forward to continue on with the series, but this is a new series, so there is no continuation yet, so I have to wait. But so that means we are left with 7 books on the TBR. One that isn't started yet, though I will admit I have since started it, but yesterday evening it wasn't started yet. I have some 1,800 pages to go, just under, and yeah. That means we have to keep up with the same pace as we did throughout this week, so 900 pages per week. So let's just make it happen. I think we're going to repeat the success formula of this week. So I'm going to keep you guys abreast of everything that I do throughout this week in terms of the progress. I'm going to make some slight alterations to my plan for this week. But there's also the potential for me to just have less reading time this week, which could be quite catastrophic for the feasibility of this project. But yeah, with that being said, this is the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you guys for next week's installment. Bye!